You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood with
Michál Anna.
And we are here for Intuitive Talk Story at 3 o'clock on December 28th, 2022, our last show of the year, Michál.
Yes, and giving Lydia besos out the door.
Mwah, aloha. Thank you for a beautiful transition.
We'll see you Friday. Yes, it's our last show of 2022.
Yeah, I've been writing 2023, and it's like, oh my God, it's right there. It's
here.
Coming.
It's around the corner.
Yeah. So you brought up a topic for today. You want to share what you were feeling about that?
So let me kind of preface that I was, thinking about as we are closing out 2022. We've been in a few years here of a lot of growth and expansion. A lot of people have been moving through a lot of doors, doing a lot of deep work, and opening and growing and etc. And I feel like this first wave is kind of wrapping up, and we want to really see what do we want to take into 2023. How do you want to really show up? We want to stand in our pono, upright position, and kind of claim our sovereignty as we move into 2023. And so one of the things that came up in that deep discovery of self for, all of us really, and it's not talked about in that way, is unworthiness, feeling worthy and feeling worthy of unconditional love, because ultimately, in order for us to really move into greater harmony of who we want to show up to be, we have to know that we are worthy of God's love. We are worthy of infinite source. We are worthy of divine blessings. We are worthy of being taken care of, worthy of abundance, worthy of joy, worthy of feeling good. All of these things. So I thought to bring up worthiness as a topic and what to really hone in on and let's let go of. I'm always about letting go of the things that don't serve. Let's do it now kind of thing. Once you see it, it no longer has power because you're calling it out. So what do you want to call out this year? And is it 2022's ending? And what do you want to really show up and bring forth in 2023? Just as your beingness, not like what do we want to make out there in the world. I mean,
not necessarily manifesting actual things.
No, I mean, how
experience.
Do you want to be as you walk into the next year? I want to be kind and patient and in my neutral space. For instance, like that, really intentionalizing where we want to show up and what things might be blocking or contributing to why we haven't been able to in the past.
Yeah.
Right? And then to pull that into a finer, more enlightened perspective, basically flip it upside down, and whatever has been unworthy, let's make worthy.
Well, and part of it is perspective. And when you wrote that to me, I really got teary because I guess I had a feeling about my own worthiness and being worthy of unconditional love. And also seeing other people in my life who I could recognize, I can tell they're not feeling worthy of unconditional love. And how can we help today in our conversation with one another in spirit and whoever wants to call us? What can we bring to people to encourage them to find that they are worthy of unconditional love just by their very existence?
Well, I have to say that first it's just recognizing that we all kind of have a setup of unworthiness on some level, or abandonment just from the separation and being here.
On the planet,
on
you
the
mean?
planet,
because that's how we come
from
in.
Source.
Yes.
There's a sense of abandonment and am I not worthy of God, just inherently that we have to go through to find ourselves and embody the Christic light, embody your Christ self, per se. And so I think of that as a path of facing all these places of first acknowledging that we're all dealing with stuff. If we all were like, hey, we're all dealing with this unworthiness thing, then it wouldn't be a big deal to recognize it in yourself. People would be more open to see it. But what I've noticed is that, if you bring that up, they're like, well, I think I'm worthy. I have no problem with that at all. I'm good there. Like, I don't have any issues with that. I'm all cool. And maybe you are. And at the same time, I tend to believe or see or observe that when one is like, oh, yeah, I got it, then there's probably a reason we're blocking something. We're not letting ourselves see deeper. If we really if we're really in worthiness, then my answer would be more probably like, well, yes, I've explored that. I've touched deep places. I can always use another sweep.
Yeah.
And just look at any place that I might have missed because more unconditional love, the merrier. Like, I'm not afraid to look and see. Maybe there's a place I still need to sweep that out. So if we're willing, that's kind of like back to it's humility. So the doorway to worthiness comes through us wanting to humble ourselves to ourselves. Like, yeah, maybe I could still have a place where I don't feel worthy, and admit it to yourself. If we're like, hey, no, I'm good, I got it, then I'm probably hiding something from myself, right?
Right. It's not about anybody else.
No, there's nobody out there.
Nobody out there. And, as you were talking, I was thinking it's really what we're talking about is kind of having an invitation to look at, we talk about peeling away the layers. As we move through life and maybe we've handled some things that happened when we were 10 or 40 or whatever. There's always more, or at least it seems to me that's why I'm here, is because there's more. So if I seem kind of overconfident or not even overconfident, what's the word I'm thinking of? Nice, little Palo Santo. Thank you.
Yeah.
If I am unwilling to look, it's kind of telling me something. Just that, oh no, I'm fine. Just that attitude, that tone in me, where I'm a little bit protective, or it's just telling me something. It's telling me, you know what? If you think you got it so great, then maybe you want to just go into that humble place, like you said, and then ask the question of myself. And if my question and my response is, you know what, I feel good with this right now, and I'm open to see what develops tomorrow or later or the next day, that's fine. We don't always have to be in trauma and drama. There can be a point where we kind of take a breath and relax and feel amazing, but with that knowledge, that humbleness of, okay, I'm good for right now, and I'm open to see what else comes up. Maybe when somebody yells at me or says something to me that triggers me, it's like, okay, I'm ready. Here we go. Let's go again,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I hear you saying is, is having that willingness to be curious, to have the inquiry.
Right.
So the willingness to be curious and have the inquiry. And when you're in trigger, in moments, a really easy way to frame that is, am I embracing or am I pushing away? If you can catch yourself there, am I embracing or am I pushing away? And my father said something that I've brought up before, but which is so true. Kindness covers all. So if I'm committed to kindness, that doesn't just mean to you, it's to myself also. So let I be kind in this moment, kind to you. You're bringing something to me. Hey, maybe you could check out your worthy. Is there anything you're not feeling worthy about? I want to be kind to you and not go, oh, no, there's nothing, Eila,
Yeah.
I want to be kind to you and kind to myself.
And contemplate it, right?
Contemplate.
Yeah,
So
take a moment.
if we're not able to contemplate, we're not neutral.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Yeah.
this before.
Yeah.
And so that means we have energy on it, which
Right.
means we have something there, which usually means we are some age in that moment having a memory. And so we might go back to being 9 years old. And maybe I handle this one area in my life like a 9-year-old or a 15-year-old or whatever, because we're having that same program running from that time period. So that's why the inquiry is so important. Back to the roaches under in the house, like, when you turn the lights on or they come out, that's when you get them. If you just like, no, there's no roaches here, I'm going to close my eyes. If you wait long enough, they'll all go away and you open your eyes and they'll be gone. You're like, okay, there's nothing here. But they're still there. They just ran back under their hiding spot.
Right.
So you want to catch stuff, and that's really important. If you're on the road home, basically, we're on the road home to ourselves, home to who we really are, then we have to be willing, we have to be curious, to have the inquiry, to go, did I really look? I don't know. Did I really clean well? Let's go check the corners. Did you clean the bathroom? Well, yeah, but are you willing to walk in there with me and look? Yeah, I am. Because I did a good job. And if I didn't, well, then I want to make sure I caught that corner. I don't want mold growing in the bathroom. So I'm willing to go in there with you. If I didn't do a good enough job, I'm willing to look at what I could do better. Right? So
And without any energy around it.
without any, it's not personal. If we're all striving to be our best,
Yeah.
and I'm your friend and you're my friend, we're just helping one another to be our best, and we're reflecting, hey, let's help one another.
And reflecting, right, and you, like you say, we mirror things for each other.
Right.
So if somebody does something that I get really charged and upset about, it isn't all about them. It's reflecting something for me, so I can go to another level. I can peel back that. I can look at that. I can see what that's about for me, and not make it about the other person at all.
Right, because you can think of it this way. A lot of people, we trigger in our relationships and in our families. You know these people for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, don't you trust them? You're like, so how are you going to make them like, now it's this, rah, rah. Like, take into account all of the logical information you have prior to this moment.
Right.
And use that in your contemplation to logically see what's happening, and then make a choice of how to move forward by embracing, being willing, curious. I want to have the inquiry, and I'm willing to look at myself so that I can move forward into something different than what might be going on here. Like, simple as that. Like, if there's triggers happening, is this what I want to be experiencing all the time? Like, is this my experience that I want to have? So you have your wantingness of a different experience,
Right.
your wantingness to experience love versus to dwell in my drama or my fear has to be greater. My wantingness for that has to be greater than my desire to stay in this energy. So I have to be willing to say, you know what, this isn't really what I want to be doing with my time and my energy. I want to be willing, I want to embrace, and I want to move forward. That's a choice I have to make in myself, or else we keep perpetuating the loops, right? So that willingness is so very important, with that coupled with our wantingness to be my very best. I want to know myself. That has to be my first and foremost knowingness. Like, yes, I want to be in the heart of love. Yes, that's my desire of my heart. I'm committed to that more than I'm committed to any of the stuff coming at me, because I'm going to reach in and choose to embrace. And I'm going to reach in and choose to embrace. And I'm going to reach in and choose to embrace. And on and on.
Yeah.
Even when you feel like, but why can't someone else do it? Well, because no one's out there.
Yeah.
And it's all your own test. We're all in our own movie. We project into other people. They play out things for us because we're projecting a reality. They put a projector in the cinema plays, like literally you're doing that. We're doing it. We play stuff out for one another. We don't mean to sometimes. We're like, oh, whoops, did I just say something wrong? Oh, no, whoops. But you're playing it out for someone else maybe in that moment.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, if I come to you and I say, hey, Eila, you're how's those unworthy-ish? Look, have you looked at being unworthy? Like we were just saying, if your first thing is to go, well, what are you talking about, Michál? Like, what do you think I'm not worthy?
Yeah.
You've forgotten that we're friends in that moment. Like, in that moment?
Well, and I've heard something that you didn't say. So
Right.
I heard criticism, judgment, that wasn't there. It was a question without any of that edge, but out of concern and love. But sometimes somebody asks us something and we hear it through a filter of unworthiness and judgment. Oh, why would she say that? Why would she ask me that question? She
Right.
must think that blah, blah,
That
blah.
I'm
And then we
blah,
make
blah.
a story.
And we make
And-
assumption.
right. And if we don't address that with the other person, but especially with ourselves, then it just stays there. Then it's just like stuck energy to me.
Right. So in that moment, the person you have to, if you're hearing something a certain way, remember that's your family member, that's your wife, your brother, your sister, your cousin. Ask a question. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? I think I'm not understanding you, because I'm inherently know we have a trusting relationship. You're
Right.
not trying to hurt me.
Right.
So I'm going to be embracing and ask a question and see what you really mean, so that I can understand you better.
Yeah,
Versus taking
and
it
that's not
personal.
always easy to do. I
takes breath.
I had an interaction with someone last week, and something that they said just kind of, they didn't say anything to me. It was their behavior out there was poking something in me, and they said to me later, what was bothering you? And I'm like, I don't really want to talk about it, because it wasn't. I knew it wasn't about them. I knew it was something that I needed to look at and reflect about. And it's like, I'm sorry, I was like, had whatever behavior you saw wasn't about you. It was something I need to look at.
Right.
And that's and it's not always easy to get to that place. It's a lot easier to just poke somebody back. But it doesn't get us where we want to be.
No.
No.
No, and that goes back to embrace. So you make everyone your friend. Think of it that way. I'm going to make every friends with everyone today. I'm making friends. So, and it goes back to being a kid. I talk a lot about making things fun.
Yeah.
You have a jingle. Be like a child unto God. And, it's like that's how we get into the kingdom of heaven, is to be a child, to be in our heart, to be in our, I want to do that. That looks fun. Oh, let's do it. Oh my gosh. You want to come over? Let's dance. Oh,
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And when, joy is a great, like we've talked about vibration before, experiencing joy is going to get you really far up the ladder from depression. If you go and have real genuine moments of joy, that's a very high, that's one of the high, it's the highest vibration we can probably experience here. Ecstasy, I guess, is the next highest, ecstatic joy.
Yeah.
But that's a really high vibration. So for all of you out there, go feel great about experiencing joy and happiness with one another, and experiencing dancing and joy and whatever brings you happiness, because you're actually helping everyone on this planet, because we're lifting the vibration together, and joy is a great one to lift up. So we want to lift ourselves out of these lower energies by recognizing them first and foremost. We have to recognize I'm judging myself. I'm doing this thing, as Eila was just describing, recognize that there's a judgment. I'm hearing a judgment. I'm hearing this, but you said this and you said that. I didn't say any of those things. You're hearing that because that's how you're feeling about yourself, because there's an unworthiness program, which I want to describe can be very much connected to victim-victimizer programming. And this gets into societal programmings and poverty consciousness. Now, that doesn't mean you have to necessarily be externally quote unquote poor or not have access to services to have poverty consciousness. One can be rich in physical goods and still have a poverty consciousness. One can also be from the ghetto and have a poverty consciousness. There are both, but they really come into victim-victimizer programming, which always makes, if you were me, you would feel the same, right? I mean, I'm sure it's easy to say it, but this happened. Come on. Of course I'm going to do that. What else could I do?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and throughout my life, I've been very sensitive to tones. When people
Yes.
speak, it isn't the words that are said. It's the tone that I hear and that I feel. And of course, that's my filter. I heard a song the other day. I have to bring this up. I heard it was from the Maui radio station. They play a little bit different Christmas music. This was like the day before Christmas. And I heard this song and I'm like, oh, wow, a Christmas song I haven't heard before. Like if I have to hear it, I'd like it to be something new.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to the lyrics, and it was all joy and bliss and Christmas joy and wonder and amazement. The tone of the song was so sad. The melody, for me, hearing it, and I know music, right? And we're all affected by music. I'm like, wow, isn't that interesting? Somebody wrote this melody. I wonder if those were the original lyrics or they were two different people because they did not go together. And then I thought, are there any sad Christmas songs out there? Because it's wonderful to have music that sings about joy and bliss, but it's like any other art form. You need all aspects of the art for me to have the depth of it. Because being sad doesn't mean I'm not experiencing joy. It just means I feel sad right now.
Well, and in order to get to joy, we have to experience sadness. We have to experience everything.
You have to allow whatever it is.
Whatever you got to go through. And right, honestly, on another way, I know many folks in the dark night of the soul. And it's right now the shortest days. It's the dark night of the winter.
Yeah.
It is the dark night of the soul. It's the time for contemplation, for inquiry, for looking within the self, for digging up those places. And it takes, feeling it. Like sometimes, you want to dig into where you're hurting. You want to hear a song about that. You want to feel a thing, or you want to sing I'm digging it. So I'm going through the mire, and no matter what, I'm not going to get tired. You want to hear something that helps you feel through the molasses that you're walking in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It expresses something in a way that sometimes our words can't.
Yeah.
So through a poetry, through a movie, through a song, we get to have a shared moment with whoever wrote that and say, oh, wow, it helps. For me, it can help me drop into whatever it is a little more fully so I can allow it, face it, deal with it, and kind of then move out of it.
Well, you can move it by singing. I've done that a number of times, singing songs just in the depth of it. Like, oh, you're in so much, whatever you're in. Yeah. And just singing my heart out in the car, moving energy, allowing it to just pour through you, feel the energy. And let it go, this pain or this sadness or whatever you're feeling, and then just feel it and let it go.
Well, and the thing I want to add to that is that this time of the year can be extremely challenging for a lot of people because maybe they have a lot of family that died or they miss and to me the mainstream is pumping us with joyfulness and buy more presents and joy and love and yes, if we don't honor the moments where we feel sad because so-and-so died or we're not with those people anymore or we're not 10 anymore and it's not fun anymore, whatever it is, it feels like it takes us away from ourselves then. We're not experiencing the fullness of who we are.
Well, and you brought something up that kind of clicked in my mind when you're saying that what is joy? Because to be honest, when I think of what you're just saying, it brings me great joy to experience a ritual or to honor my family or honor those that have passed. It brings me great joy. And a reverence and a joy that is inexplicable almost, right? Yeah. And so our joy is not a consumeristic carbon copy Walmart endeavor. Our joy is deep and emotional and intricate and a tapestry woven by many threads. And what, in our society, then what you brought up, the mainstream, it basically tries to cut it down to just snowman and plastic and,
well, and it makes it uses the word joy in such a way.
The word joy,
which is
are you joyful? It's like a fake kind of joy. It kind of reminds me of that fake light show we did on the light path, like the false light path.
Yes,
because honestly, things can look like, aren't we joyful? But it's like a clown face. Is it real? I don't think so.
It's really they're using the word joy where maybe happy belongs. Happy is a momentary
feeling. I'm so happy.
I just had ice cream. I'm happy while I'm eating the ice cream.
Right.
And then Yeah, I'm not.
But consumerism is
Right.
really the religion of these holidays that are happening anyway here in the mainstream in that regard. I mean, it's like
Right.
go buy stuff and buy buy it again and again and again. You used to be able to buy, people bought cast iron and you had pans for your whole life. Now people buy new pans every year. Or, we overdo everything. And the amount of waste that we've incurred, I mean, goodness gracious. Well, that's another part of us feeling worthy, because honestly, feeling in the victimizer, if we've grown up with not having enough, well, then we really want to show that we have enough.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so we might overbuy even and then not use it.
Right.
That I've seen that, because it's like, well, I can because I have enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's a false sense of having enough that we then become wasteful. And see, that's not having enough. That's being wasteful.
Right.
So
that's just buying for the sake of buying,
right.
getting more
It's
stuff
trying
for
to
the sake
fill
of
up
getting.
my hole in
Right.
myself that makes me feel like I'm worthy
Mm-hmm.
because I can buy stuff.
Right.
But is that my worthiness? No. And so I'm putting it in a false place. And so these holidays can give us these false places to just try and, it's basically playing that out. You're looping all those worthiness programs right into the holidays. It's working you almost. So it's like, instead we claim our worthiness and go, it brings me joy to honor my family. Maybe I'm with my mom, but I'm not with my greater family. And, many people have passed and are gone at this point. And,
Mm-hmm.
and all I can do is I send prayers, I talk to people, and I just, I have joy in able to have a conversation with someone and connect that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, also releasing our expectations and allowing what is to be of value. So as we release expectation, I go, I'm just grateful, and going into gratitude.
Yes.
Just grateful that I got to talk to my dad today. Like, how grateful I am. I'm just
Right.
grateful that I have memories of my grandfather who's passed, and I can remember moments with him in my mind and feel him with me. I'm grateful for that. See, if we reframe, we take ourselves the other way. And that's a choice. And those are the choices that are going to get us home when we're coming into I am worthy, because I have to know I am worthy of unconditional love. So my glass is not half full. I have everything I need, and always, every day, everywhere I go. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I have what I need when I need it. For I am worthy. I am worthy of unconditional love.
And that makes me think of the mind our thoughts. As you're talking about all those things and finding a place for gratitude and remembering Grandpa and how grateful I was to have that, and I'm grateful for who I have today. It doesn't mean I don't remember the other and the people, and it just means that I'm honoring the moment as well as the past, and who knows what the future's going to hold. So it's gratitude goes a long way in this entire process. I just feel like right now at this time of year and at this time that we're going through, it is so valuable to find gratitude and go to gratitude.
Every day. I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about gratitude, and yes, for me, it's totally gotten me there. And like I said, if you can, for your own path, I brought this one up before, but, when you're given stuff that's hard, remember, you're never given more than you can handle. That phrase has helped me a lot. I was like, well, I must have what it takes, because here I am. All right, cowgirl up, Michál, we can do this, right? So you got to give yourself self-talk about things, because wherever you are, well, there you are. So you must be there for a reason, and you have what it takes to get there if you listen and you're willing to humble yourself and go through what's there in front of you, right? Don't be afraid. Call out the pink elephants in the room.
And also what comes up for me is to not compare yourself to anybody else or anyone else's situation.
Well, that's judgment.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that, that's just still judging, which is inherent with kind of victim unworthiness and I'm not good enough. Judgment goes with those. So they kind of hang out together. So again, we've talked about this programming. These are programs that get laid in via our wounding and our trauma. So back to kind of, we're all been traumatized. We all have been. This is kind of, we've talked about this, but this is the lowest place you can be, peeps. We're in 3D. It's kind of the in a well, a fallen matrix. So it's kind of been a low density vibrational place. It's been a somewhat enslaved system. So in essence, we are waking up to own our freedom and our true sovereignty as divine, co-creative children of the infinite, per se. And in actuality, we are the children of the infinite creator. I am that I am. The choice is for us to drop all the things that do not serve and let the higher vibrations run through our beingness, which in essence is surrendering, not of my will, but of divine will. And so I come into worthiness. That phrase I just said, I am worthy of unconditional love, and then you can add, and I love unconditionally, is paramount. Write it down. I am worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. Say it all day, all the time, and repattern the brain to being worthy. This helps us with the brain portion. Now, the triggers are the spirit portion, where you're wounding your little girl, little boy are still having a moment. So that's why we have to pay attention, breathe, and as soon as anything does come up, we have to be willing to go, oh, now's my chance. What is it? I'm a hunt. You have to be like an archaeologist. You're investigating. You're like, it's fun. It's a case study. You think of everything like it's a game. So like, okay, case study. Ooh, something's coming up. Okay, I gotta go. I'm going in. I'm gonna find it. What is it? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I see. You're not gonna hide from me. You're like, I'm like Inspector Clouseau. So you make it fun for yourself, because you're really just hunting the places in yourself that are still attached to the trauma and wounding. And they're places that basically separated from ourselves, or we dropped a piece of our energy. And it's just kind of like we need to bring it back to ourselves and zero out that whole thing, like, oh, well, that doesn't have any power. Remember, like, you're 4, you don't understand the things you understand at 30.
Right.
Your 4-year-old doesn't get what you know now. Your 4-year-old just freaking out. Getting scared. So you have to go back and show that, like, hey, 4-year-old, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm showing you the way. Let's grab our stuff. We don't need to sit here panicking anymore. I'm going to take care of you. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And come into unity within ourselves. So that's the meditation work. That's the work of going within. And that is incredibly important. So in this road home, coming into worthiness, just kind of like bullet it. We're saying you really want to come into willingness, curiosity, and inquiry, right? And then we need to use our tools. We can repattern by using phrases that help us give power to I am worthy, bring in what we want. We track what's coming up in the moment that it's coming up, and we follow the thread, and we do our best to repattern it or bring back what's yours and zero out the energy of whatever emotional moment you were having to come back into a zero moment, right?
Well, and as you were talking, I was thinking, as you were saying, I am worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. To me, that's an amazing mantra to take. And when I'm feeling, when my brain starts to go all over the place, where I feel it's not going in a great direction, it's a little destructive, it's judgy, if I have some of these mantras in my toolbox, then I can use those and get me off that pattern of thinking. It's like, oh, I'm off on that. Let me use one of my mantras, and have 5 of them. If each of us had 5 mantras like this that took us, I am grateful, whatever it is, and just repeated it over and over, you'd forget what you were thinking about that was taking you down that dark road, and just more joy.
Right, because if you use it in the moment, in the trigger, it's a way to get out of a trigger too. Like right there, Eila says something that, ow, she says something to me. I'm like, what, Eila? As soon as she says that, I can go, I am worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. With an in-breath and an out-breath, I can say that in my heart, in my mind's
and
eye,
in your mind.
in my mind.
Right.
I can experience that energy, decide that's where I want to be, and now I can go, I just said I'm worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. So I can't respond to Eila with a jerk. Now I have to be that. Right, that's what I am. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it, Eila?
Right, and
I can make a choice.
It's definitely a tool to take you to a higher place.
And they're phrases that if they're true, then whatever you're doing can't be true. So if there's
Yeah.
like, for instance, if there's nobody out there, that's one of the ones my favorites. There's nobody out there because we blame everyone else. We
Yeah.
want it to be somebody else's fault. It's your fault. Well, if she didn't do that, I wouldn't feel this way. And if he didn't do this, then I wouldn't have to act like that. We blame everyone and we justify our behaviors based on other people. So if you
Right.
literally create like there's nobody out there, then every time you do that, you're like, but there's nobody out there. In yourself, like, haha, so it can't be Eila because there's nobody out there. Guess it's me.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, shiz. What do I got to figure out? I guess I got to go inside and look at it because, well, there's nobody out there. So they're phrases that bring us back to, like, the truth. Like, if there's nobody out there, then what I'm saying is bull.
Let's take a station break and we'll come right back.
The Kohala Night Market returns on Wednesday, January 4th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Village Hub. The community is invited to shop locally produced food and crafts and to enjoy music by DJ Lou Creative. It will be a night of dancing and celebration for the new year. Also, food trucks will be cooking up some local grinds, and Radio KNKR will be there live, broadcasting from the market. You can stop by our table and meet some of the DJs. That's the Kohala Night Market on Wednesday, December 7th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Kohala Village Hub. See you there.
Great Goddess, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me. I am so thankful to have you.
Aloha Kohala. This is Eila Allgood of Women's Voices. Change is in the air. Women's Voices will now be once a week, every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. I hope you can tune in to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala and listen to sensational songs by female artists from right here in Kohala and around the world.
Protecting me, I am so thankful to have you guiding me, protecting me, I am.
A message from Peter Pomerantz. Thank you so much for supporting Kohala Cares this past year. We are very proud of the work we have done providing supplemental groceries to many families in Kohala. We have also organized assistance to local families who have lost their homes to fire. As the year comes to an end and you're considering tax-deductible charitable donations, I hope you will add Kohala Cares to your list of worthy causes. We hope to continue our community service for many years as long as there is a need. You can make a donation on the North Kohala Community Resource Center website. Go to northkohala.org and find Kohala Cares on the list of projects and click the donate button. Or you can send a check to the Resource Center. Make the check out to NKCRC and be sure to indicate that the donation is intended for Kohala Cares. Mahalo for your continuing support.
Aloha Kohala, welcome back. It is 3:38 here at KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala, December 28th, 2022, last show of the year. Intuitive Talk Story. If you want to call us with a comment or question, 808-884-5657. These shows get made into podcasts, so you can find them on Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find them on Michál Anna YouTube, which is Michal. She's got all kinds of goodies on there. So come on back, Michál. Let's talk stories some more about worthiness, unworthiness, love. Yeah.
Well, basically, if we're ready, why not we just release all of our unworthiness and be worthy of what's coming for all of us in 2023,
Yeah.
which is, to me, a lot of building the new earth together, creating and collaborating and coming into more harmony and the unified field, sitting at the round table, so to speak, and coming into co-creative energy where we all recognize one another's worthiness and we operate in that way and come together to do that. new time that I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
is
and
all
I
here palatable.
as you're saying that, I think it's so important that we are honoring ourselves first. So, because what I see happens sometimes when people co-create, they get lost. They forgot who they were.
Well, that's the
or,
thing I'm
or
saying
what
is
they're channeling, you
we
know?
can't actually come to the round table and co-create until you've done the work of becoming worthy. That's kind of the point,
Right.
Because the round table is a metaphor. The round table, the King Arthur time, and that to me, if we're at the round table, it means inherently we all are in a circle. We already know. If we're sitting at that table, we already know that every person at that table is a divine co-creator. We're all amazing. We're all fabulous. We're all incredible, brilliant, and amazing beings with incredible gifts. And where there is no level, hierarchy, judgment, or any other, because those things are all third dimensional vibrational energies, lower level. So if we're at the round table, it means we've walked through our doors, we've been in the dark night, we've found ourselves to be worthy, and we're sitting at the table going, let's co-create now, because we all know that we're worthy and we're here to do this. So that's kind of, to me, the goal and the opportunity for a large section right now. And then there'll be another opportunity for another section to come onto the the round table. We're like creating, it's layers, right? And we're in this big planetary field. And many people, I give thanks to all of my elders who I've had a pleasure to actually, connect with a few elders recently that have been on the path a long time, who pioneered and paved the way for me, who planted seeds, back in the day, just small things, even like one conversation planted some large seeds for me back in the old days. It's like all that and the dedication. And then we're the next level. We're, each generation, we're here to take it one step further. The ones that are coming in, wow, they're just here to build the new earth. I feel like I'm here to be a bridger. I've always been a bridger. I'm helping people in the density, and I'm not afraid to go into the dark, mucky places and get dirty.
You are not afraid of that.
No.
I can vouch for that.
Jeez. But at the same time, I'm also like, I'm all about building the new earth too. So I'm like both. I'm bridging the two. But in my world, my particular, but at some people, I think a lot of people are just, concentrated on once you get through that door, just focus on, building the new earth. Just focus on living your love, living your joy. If we just do that, we're doing everything, and so it's getting through our doors of these places that are blocking us from knowing that ultimately we are worthy of divine source energy. We are worthy of love, and we are love unconditionally, so that we are worthy and unconditional love. Ultimately, if you truly feel that, well, then that covers a lot of things. Now you have already released judgment. You've released a lot of things because those programmings come with that other energy. So that brings up cutting agreements, which I've talked about before, but daily processes of cutting agreements, claiming yourself, cutting cords and connectors, I feel is of utmost value, because we are making small agreements, recording things on a daily basis. So I cut agreements too with energies, like, I don't, like you just brought up judgment, like, okay, I don't want to have an agreement with judgment. I choose to be neutral all day. I'm going to make an agreement to do that today, and I release any other agreement I've made. I'm going to walk, and I'm going to catch myself every time I just did it. Look at that. Geez, I do it a lot. If you do that case study, it's not, you're like just case study. Watch yourself like an observer. You're going, I said it again. Can you believe it? I guess I say that a lot, right? You might
without them making yourself
with
wrong.
Judgment, because we've already agreed to have judgment.
Right.
So we're a case study, neutral observer.
I used to, years ago, I took a coaching workshop, and they had one rule on the board, and it says no one gets to be wrong.
Right.
And I remember when I first read that, I was like, well, that's so weird. But that's carried me a long way, because that gave all of us in that group a freedom to express and be ourselves, whoever that was, however you showed up. It felt like this was a safe space. And I think that's really important as we talk about co-creating, together, whether we're in a room together or we're co-creating in our community. You're doing you and I'm doing me, and then we talk together and, let's try that. one of the things I'm noticing is I'm meeting a lot of young people in my shop, and I'm amazed by their abilities, by their gifts, what the young people are coming in with. You know, I'm talking about 20s and 30s right now.
Totally.
And not just them, but I haven't had much interaction with people at that age. So now I'm getting to have that, and I'm like, wow, like these people are channeling and they're connected, and it gives me so much hope for our future as humanity.
Yes, Eila, it's happening. It's happening.
It is happening.
Yeah. I do get the privilege of being with all kinds of ages.
Yes, you
through
do.
Dance and music and,
Yeah.
and healing. And I'm just like so excited about all the amazing beings I meet on a daily basis, really, of just like, wow, everyone's so bright, honestly. And
Yeah.
and there's a lot of movement. A lot of people are literally waking up. They are
Yeah.
choosing life. It's really a simple thing. Do I want to choose life or do I want to choose death? It's really comes down to that in our soul spirit. How do I want to live and be in harmony with this earth and the life force that is here? You know, it's like this Avatar movie is out now. Again, the second one, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm
haven't
going to go
either.
see it. But I think that's I give thanks to just the whole beautiful vision
concept
and
of
that
it.
he's brought forth, because I think that's what we'll kind of like. It's a great metaphor for us, that it's really about the reconnection to our earth. And what's happened here is kind of that. The big trees were taken down, everything was destroyed, and we've been digging into this place and mining it for all of its resources. And we need to stop, and we need to live in harmony with our planet and with ourselves. So we are this planet. And so we need to treat our planet as we want to be treated. So back to being worthy. We're worthy of being in abundance and love. We're worthy to be with God, and not, we don't have to dig into ourselves and use our resources and hurt ourselves, which in essence is what we're doing. We're digging into ourselves. And so if we choose to then instead have a symbiotic communion with what's around us, we start to co-create, and we get to start to experience the true essence and magic of what being in a vibration of co-creation feels like.
And, you know, as you're talking about that, one thing that feels important in our living process is that what our intention is as we're moving through our day. So what comes up for me is there are so many things I could look at in terms of how could I be living more kindly on the earth. Well, if I put out the intention that I want to live more kindly on the earth, then each thing I do, I can do with more love, rather than being the person who claims to be living more kindly on the earth. Well, I planted 100 trees, or, you know, I don't eat this, or I do that. You know, if your intention is to look good, you know what I mean? It's like,
I call that Lululemon. Like, you know, I mean, that goes back to judgment and like false light. And there's a lot of false
light. I think there's some false light
paths
with that.
in a lot of those places. Like, how many downward dogs can you do? I mean, you know, like that kind of thing. Like,
I meditate 400 hours a week, you know.
Right. Like, it's not a race. That goes back to, if there's hierarchy involved, then it's not the deal, because hierarchy is still duality, false light. It's a Trinity system or a 3-part system. That's what makes it, it is not this or that. It's all of it, because it's only one thing. We have to come to the one. See, and the one is all that is. So if you have anything outside of the one, it's false. It's fostering a false perception, which keeps us stuck in some sort of battle or fighting something. There's nothing to fight. It's everything to love. So that's the other thing, is like on our journey to home, we think we'll have to battle the demons. Honestly, you have to love the demons. You have to love them, because I've said this before, I'll say it again, Kalohe children, little Kalohe children running around, and they have temper tantrum. I mean, are you gonna be scared of your temper tantrum screaming 4-year-old? No, you're gonna go wrap them up in the blanket, take them straight home, put them to bed. And so it's like that with the energies. You're like, you got nothing. You're just separated from God. You don't remember who you are, and you need to go home. You can't stay here right now. It's okay. So love you. When you love something, we get set free, because back to when you embrace, it's like a magical key. You embrace it and poof, it disappears. My first lesson out of the gate in 1998, when I really started Human Lessons 101 on my conscious journey, was to, some may remember, I had a business partner. I came to Kohala, and God bless her. It was just my journey, right? Okay, so this is what happened, okay? But a woman that I won't say her name, her and I opened a restaurant. Anyway, she's a really interesting character. She had a lot of things that were very hard for me. And she's like an intense person, like daughter, like a whole deal. And so we were in business together. And at the time, I'm like dreadlock, turban wearing, open this Hula La's. It's my Mexican restaurant that I make my family's recipes that I'm making. And I'm praying over everything. And I it's kind of like, this isn't working for me, this partnership. And Spirit really told me, well, okay, well, you'll be done when you love her. What? Yeah, you can be done with the partnership when you love her. Huh? Okay, well. So out of the gate, it was like Human Lessons 101, 24 years old. When I love this person, I can be done with this lesson. So I had to love everything about it and give thanks and love it. And literally when I was embraced it completely, it was like, okay, it was ready to okay, we're ready to part. Do you want to take it or do I? I'm like, I don't care, whatever you want to do. She's like, I'll take it. Great. Enjoy. Love you. Beautiful. Thanks and praise. We're all win, because we're on the path to
wasn't
love.
that great that you were able to hear that, though? You were able to hear that.
I've been asking pretty hardcore since I was little. So yeah, that's part of wantingness. So that goes back to wanting. So I've been asking, wanting, and seeking actively and consciously since I was a child. So for me, that's everyday stuff. I listen. That's what I rely on, is listening. I follow. That's all I'm doing. I call it now follow the feast, because we don't want to follow the breadcrumbs. We want to follow the feast.
Yeah.
We were watching this preacher on some clip, and he was talking about no bummer prayers.
No bummer prayers.
No bummer prayers. People are like, oh, I just hope you can hand me a little bit so I can just make it through my day.
Yeah.
No, ask for a lot, because you're worthy. Back to being worthy. I am worthy of abundance. I'm worthy. I want to be in abundance. I want to have everything I need so I can show up to do what I want to do properly, right? Then I can better serve if I have what I need. I'm worthy of that. I'm worthy of having a place to live. I'm worthy of having good food. I'm worthy of these things. So no bummer prayers. No, just hope you throw me a bone.
Just give me enough. Yeah. Give me enough to get through the day. Yeah. Let's believe in the abundance of love, of things that we need, of food that we eat, of places to live, people in our lives that love us unconditionally, all of that. Why not?
Why
Absolutely.
not? And expect that, well, I'm worthy of that. Well, I deserve to have a tea in the morning. I'm worthy of that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But bringing that in. So again, inclusive, embracing you're asking and believing, and it starts with how we talk to ourselves in each and every day and the practices we use. So these practices are they work if you use them. They don't work if you're
use them for 5 minutes
right.
and then go back to your old self.
You're like, well, I listened to the show. Yeah. Great. Did you do it?
It's like going to workshops, but
right.
not applying what you learn to help you evolve from the workshop. You just go to another workshop and you do it while you're there, but then you get home and you interact with your brother or your aunt or your kid or something, and you blow up and it's back to the old behavior. So
you got to implement right away.
Keep going. While you were talking about, the co-creation and working together, it had me thinking about something that we've talked about a lot, the duality and the feminine, masculine, yin yang. I feel like we've talked about coming into this kind of feminine time, and feminine meaning the feminine in every human being, not in the women, but in the men, where we're in this more cooperative co-creation, letting go of that hierarchical who's better than who concept. And as we do that and as we intentionalize that, it becomes more effortless to co-create because we're moving from this energy of love first, not, yeah.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
So we actually, I guess the solstice was last week, so we
Yes.
haven't talked since the solstice. So thank you for bringing that in, Eila. So important. The divine feminine and that seeding, which we talked about before, the return of the mother. But yes, now with this solstice, we've really drawing in the balance of the divine Holy Mother, the Holy Father in sacred union. And some colors that you at home or wherever you are can use is aquamarine of the Holy Mother, emerald green, Holy Father, and then the kind of the product of that, the sacred marriage, creates the Christic light, the seed of the Christic ones. That's just us. We are the infinite seed, right? That gold, Christic gold light. So those three harmonic, three tri-wave colors rolling through your being, coming into balance, as Eila was saying, it's balance of the feminine, masculine, or you might say alpha, omega. If you have energy on the words masculine, feminine, use something else, alpha, omega, because they are a two-part system. The earth is an alpha, omega system. I am the alpha and the omega, the beginning, right?
And you need both.
You need both.
Yeah.
We are both.
Yeah.
You are both. So it's understanding what you are and working with it. And so you're also, your left side of your body is your receiving side and the omega side, and your right side is the outgoing side and the alpha side. So, also I've talked about cutting connectors. You can just use your breath and wipe your hands down your body, or when people are saging and using smoke, that's about cutting cords, like invisible spider webs that are actually there energetically that you might not be seeing with your physical eye, but it's about cutting those and freeing your field so that you're in your own divine space. So every day we're wanting to be in our own energy, managing our own energy, because we are multidimensional beings. So it's not, as I said before, it's not woo-woo, but it's more about energy management. It's physics, because we are in a really multidimensional world. So you're learning to just manage your energy, hone in your energies, ground, connect, release things that don't serve you, be connected to direct source, the earth, creating a field and a framework, which I have a lot of meditations for this on my channel. But those kind of tools, or whatever you utilize, as well as some quick sheet tools, if you want some of those, you can visit my website or YouTube. So anyhow, those quick sheets are about claiming yourself, protection, and cutting agreements. As I've talked about before, there's a lot of fine print. We agree that, yeah, sure, I'll come on over. Oh, but there's little tiny, tiny claws at the bottom, and it's got something in there, and we don't need that energetically. So we're just severing anything not in our highest good kind of all the time. Like, just clear the field, close the portals. Like your phone, you have windows open. You got to close them all.
Yeah.
You're doing that. Close all the windows.
That's a good metaphor
Close it
for
all.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, everything's clear. Okay, good. I'm good to go. I'm not leaking power. So at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, my phone's going to die because I've had all these open windows, right?
That aren't doing anything positive,
but just drawing energy from me.
Right.
Same concept. This system basically mimics our system, the quantum system of infinite source. It's a similar way, which is why I say it operates like a movie, like a virtual reality, because your consciousness having an experience. So you have to shift it in your own paradigm, your own mind. You're in charge. So speaking aloud, I'm in charge. I have full authority over my vessel. You can say it now. Nothing has power over me. I am worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. Today, may I be a blessing, and may I be blessed. Mahalo nui loa kea kua. And so it is.
And that completes our show for today. So take those with you if you can, and adapt them for yourself. Make your own mantras and tools to use. And we will be back in 2 weeks. It'll be 2023.
Next year.
And I do want to encourage people out there to look at what you want to let go of in 2022 and what you want to embrace in 2023. And go ahead.
So
Yeah.
I just got a text here for someone who wants me to say that again.
Okay,
So
say it again and
if
then
you
we'll
want to write
close.
it down
Yes.
or speak it with me.
Go ahead.
I have full authority over my vessel. Nothing has power over me. I'm in charge. I am committed to serve my source fully, completely, and totally. I am worthy of unconditional love, and I love unconditionally. May I be a blessing, and may I be blessed. Mahalo, God, mahalo keakua, mahalo infinite creator. And so it is.
And so it is. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.